I'm not gonna even lie. I'm glad Carti hasn't dropped music. You know what I mean? It took him 3 years off from dropping music, and his last album was A Whole Lot of Red, which obviously was a classic. I just remember so many people just absolutely hating it. They were like, "Yo, this is not the Carti that we like all knew and loved." You know what I mean? But like for me, first listen, I was just one of those OGs. I was just like, "Yo, like this is actually insane." Like I remember listening to it in the shower and just being like, I was also pretty baked as well, and I was like, "Yo, this is like some like almost some XX Tentacion slash Cardi vibes," and it was just insane. But yeah, it's been 3 years and Cardi hasn't dropped. You know what I mean? And then he ended up, obviously 3 years later, like after so many different times of him potentially dropping an album, him potentially going on tour. 3 years later, he ends up dropping 5 different singles within about 2 months. First one was Different Day, and he, brought back the baby voice. And it was, some people were even saying he was sounding like Ty Fontaine or Sebi and shit like that. And around this time, Cardi was actually super active on social media. He dropped 2024, which was pretty much a banger. He had the quote unquote deep voice, and then he had the baby voice at the beginning, and it was pretty good. It was probably one of my favorites. And then after he dropped Hood by Air and Hood by Air, man, that one is absolutely slapped. This was right before the new year, and some people were claiming that he kind of sounded like Young Thug on the beat. He was rapping over a Future type beat as well, and this one was definitely one of my favorites. I liked it a little bit more than Different Day. And then he dropped Backrooms with Travis Scott. When I first heard this one, I was like, yo, this one just is just not it. It's just, his voice just sounds way too goofy, not that good. But overall, over time, over like I guess 3 to 4 months, it became my favorite single that Cardi dropped. And then he dropped Evil Jordan. And this one almost sounded like it was like an old 2000 cell phone, or I guess house phone ringing in the background. That one was pretty fire as well. And the most recent one he dropped was called Ketamine. Kind of brought back the metal guitar of A Whole Lot of Red. But in my opinion, I felt like this one was just kind of like him trying to be A Whole Lot of Red Cardi, almost like a Walmart version of it. Then, DJ Academics announces he's dropping an album very soon called I Am Music. And this was right before all of it. But I'm pretty much just going to be talking about how I'm super glad Cardi hasn't dropped music, and you'd be surprised on some of my points because I think they're pretty valid in my personal opinion. Like they're obviously valid. You know what I mean? So to really start things off, on February 9th, Kanye dropped Vultures, and it was featured on 2 tracks, Fuck Some and Carnival. Two absolutely heavy tracks. Fuck Someone was a big snippet leading up to Vultures. Like, I think it was around January that they were kind of previewing it, and Cardi was going to be on it. So everybody was just super excited about the song Fuck Some. But then it turned out Carnival was on there. Kanye was obviously doing the listening part and everything like that, and Carnival just kind of grasped everyone's attention, and it went number one as well. And another reason that I'm kind of glad he didn't really drop an album is because he obviously went on tour with Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign for Vultures on at least 10 dates, I believe, including North America and Europe. And in Europe, there was a weird beef going on with JPEG Mafia, and I totally forgot the other guy's name. It was Freddie Gibbs. It was Freddie Gibbs, the rapper that DJ Academics just has the most randomest beef with. You know what I mean? And then around in this time before he ended up going on tour, this is right when he ended up doing the video for Type Shit with Future. But none of us really knew this. He went on to Aiden Ross's stream and ended up scamming him for $2 million. You know what I mean? And that was just a down bad moment for Aiden Ross and even Cardi, because it was just like Cardi on the live stream on Twitch, or I guess it was Kick Now. He didn't even say a word. Like he barely said a word. He just pretty much took the money. And I guess Cardi's a finesser, and it was kind of funny to watch. But there was, I think, like 500,000 people watching live, including myself. I don't even watch streams like that, but it's like, yo, it's Cardi, so I'm gonna have to peep it for sure. But Cardi's feature run has just been crazy, and it makes you wonder. It's like his monthly listeners just went triple, kept going up and up. So it's just like, why drop an album when you already have crazy features just bubbling up right now? So he had the momentum. I believe last year he was on a track with The Weeknd and Madonna called Popular, and it was from the Weeknd show that ended up flopping, but in my personal opinion, I think that show was pretty fire, man. And then last summer, Carti was featured on Fiend with Travis Scott, which I think peaked just outside of the top 20. I do think Travis is low-key a little bit blackballed with the Billboard charts, whatever, but this song was absolutely huge, and this was pretty much his debut of Carti really showing the deep voice Carti. And, Fiend was just a crazy song. And then, like I was talking about before, the song Type Shit with Future, Travis, and Carti. This was a big moment for Future when he dropped We Don't Trust You, with Metro Boomin. And everybody loved Carti's feature. I thought it was a pretty good feature, but I think the best verse obviously was Future on that, because Carti kind of sounded like Future, not gonna lie to you. And this song I think hit number 3, debuted in the top 3, and was on the charts for a long time, the top 10. And then Carti ended up dropping a song with Camela, the one that did Havana with Young Thug, that just went like top of the charts type shit. You know what I mean? And this one only debuted 81, and Carti kind of had like a little bit of a mumbly flow in it. It was in the gas station, kind of like the video of 2024. This one ended up peaking at 81 on the Billboard Hot 100, which was still a W. Carti's verse was a little lackluster. You couldn't really understand him. Like I said, he's mumbling, but like Carti just has no momentum. So it makes you think he could have probably dropped an album, kind of slipped it in right after Vultures, but I think he wanted to kind of ride on the buzz of the whole momentum of the features and his monthly listeners just going up. The rap beefs, probably smart Carti didn't drop in April just because of just all of the beefs and the noise going on, all the albums dropping and everything. You know what I mean? April 5th, J. Cole dropped an album called Might Delete Later, with 12 tracks including a Kendrick Lamar diss track. You know what I mean? He ends up dissing, I guess, responding to Kendrick about the like that verse. You know what I mean? And it was called 7 Minute Drill, and it was all right. It was a decent diss track, but you could just tell J. Cole was just like, he didn't want to do it. It sounded like he was like tied up, pause, with like a pistol to his head, having to respond to 7 Minute Drill. You know what I mean? And which was super weird and low-key a little bit whack that J. Cole at his festival Dreamville, which was, I believe, that following weekend, he ends up making like a lengthy apology to Kendrick Lamar, which just made the whole lore of Kendrick Lamar just like that much bigger, which was a little bit whack in my opinion, but especially with J. Cole just being like, yo, like I'm the best, you know what I mean? Like I'm the man. Like he's looking for the beefs, but he just ended up just apologizing, and that was just very J. Cole like even in the diss on 7 Minute Drill, he was saying like, oh, like To Pimp My Butterfly was like it's like a boring song, you're making me fall asleep. When in reality, J. Cole used to be, the meme back in the day was J. Cole makes songs that make you fall asleep. Like J. Cole made a song called Folding Clothes for You. If that's not like a song that makes you fall asleep, I don't know what is. You know what I mean? And then the next weekend, Future then drops We Still Don't Trust You, which is a part 2 of the first one with Metro Boomin. And this is more of like the Hendrix vibe of a Future, more melodic, more like love songs and stuff like that. And a lot of people were anticipating there would be another Kendrick Lamar diss. I knew there wouldn't be, but there still was a few disses on the project towards Drake. And that was A$AP Rocky sending some diss tracks. And this was on the album. There was a section on the album where there was like some more heavy bangers, the last like 7 songs. And kind of split it up into like a 2-part album, one more melodic and then one that's like heavy rap. But like the heavy rap section, A$AP Rocky ended up just going in on Drake. So it was pretty much like 20 verse 1, like the whole industry just going against Drake, which was kind of whack. Like, could you imagine Carti trying to drop an album around them? He'd probably sell like 90K first week. He does have a cult following, but there'd be no way that he would get the traction that he really deserves. So it just wouldn't be smart.